Okay, we've all been there, right? You sit down, you're ready to get stuff done, you are determined to be productive. And then, boom, an hour goes by and you've gotten literally nothing accomplished. And what do? We blame our phones, our email notifications, just the world. But what if the biggest distraction isn't out there? What if it's in here? Today, we're going to dive into the real science of focus and uncover the one massive piece that you might be missing. So, to really get a handle on focus, we've got to understand how it actually works inside our brains. And leaning on the work of Stanford neurobiologist Andrew Huberman, we're about to see that concentration, it isn't some kind of magical talent you either have or you don't. Nope, it's a real biological system, and it's driven by specific chemicals that, believe it or not, you can learn to control. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We have all these tricks and tools to manage the outside world. Timers, app blockers, those fancy noise-canceling headphones. But if you've tried all of that and your mind still wanders off, it's probably because the real tug-of-war for your attention is happening inside your own head. So to make this whole biological thing easy to grasp, Huberman came up with this brilliant mental model. Think of an arrow. I mean, literally, picture your focus as an arrow flying towards a target. Now, how strong that arrow is, how fast it goes, and whether it hits the bullseye, that all depends on three key brain chemicals working together. Okay, so let's break down this arrow. It's got three parts. First up, you have the shaft. This is powered by epinephrine. You probably know it as adrenaline. This is just the raw energy, that feeling of alertness. Then you've got acetylcholine, and that acts as the arrowhead. It sharpens your vision, so to speak, and points it at one single thing. And finally, you have dopamine. That's the engine. That's the motivation and the little reward signal that keeps you chasing that target. For real focus, you need all three firing in sync. So how long can we realistically keep this arrow flying straight and true? Well, the science points to something called ultradian cycles. It turns out our brains are basically hardwired to work in these intense, focused bursts of about 90 minutes. Trying to force yourself to concentrate for like 4 hours straight is like trying to sprint a marathon. It's just not how our bodies are built. The real secret is going hard for 90 minutes or less, and then, this is key, taking a deliberate break to rest and reset. All right, so you know about the arrow, you're working in your 90-minute blocks, you're doing everything right, but you're right in the middle of something important. And suddenly your mind is gone. It's somewhere else completely. Maybe you're replaying a conversation from yesterday, or worrying about what someone thinks of you, or maybe you're crafting the perfect comeback for an argument you already had. This is where we get to that missing piece of the puzzle. And that missing piece, it's the ego. Now hold on, we're not talking about some complex Freudian definition here. Let's just think of it as that narrator in your head that is completely obsessed with its own story. It's that little voice that's constantly yanking your attention away from what you're doing right now, hijacking that beautiful neurochemical arrow to worry about its own social standing and self-image. Any of this ringing a bell? This is exactly how the ego hijacks your focus. Instead of actually listening to your coworker, you're just planning how to top their story. Instead of hammering out that report, you're stressing about whether or not your boss really likes you. See, these aren't external pings from your phone. They are powerful internal alerts from your own ego, and they are demanding your attention right now. This quote from a Reddit user just nails it, doesn't it? The ego desperately wants to win the argument, to be proven right, no matter the cost. But that victory feels pretty empty if it ends up damaging something way more important. It's a classic short-term win for the ego that turns into a long-term loss for, well, you. So how in the world do you quiet that demanding voice? Well, another user suggests a pretty radical shift in perspective. When the ego starts getting loud, demanding all this attention and validation, zoom out. Like way, way out. Seriously, thinking about your place in the grand cosmic scale of things can be a shockingly effective way to shrink those ego-driven worries down to a size you can actually manage. And all this wisdom actually gives us a really practical toolkit for taming that inner noise. It all starts with simple awareness, just noticing, oh, hey, that's my ego talking right now. From there, you can actually shift your goal in a conversation from just waiting for your turn to talk to actually trying to understand. And that lets you decenter yourself, praise someone else, and just let them have the spotlight. It's all about building a type of self-respect that doesn't need to push others down to feel good about itself. Okay, now this is where it all clicks into place. On one side, you've got your brain tools from neuroscience. That's the how of focus. But on the other side, you have the mind prep. and that's the why your focus keeps getting wrecked. I mean, you can try to do a 90-minute focus block, but it's not going to work if your mind is totally consumed with needing validation. You can do a meditation or a visual exercise, but it's useless if you're mentally sidetracked by trying to please everybody.
So here is the absolute bottom line. Managing your ego isn't just about being a nicer person, it's about being more effective, period. By turning down the volume on that internal chatter, that constant need for approval and being right, you create the mental quiet needed for those scientific focus tools to actually hit their target. You're basically clearing the runway for takeoff.
So in the end, the big takeaway here isn't just another life hack. It's a fundamental shift in how we approach focus itself. Real, sustainable focus isn't about finding the perfect app or the magic supplement. It's a two-part practice. First, understanding the biology of your brain, and second, doing the internal work to manage the psychology of your mind. It's all about building focus from the inside out. So the next time your attention snaps and you instinctively reach for your phone, thinking that's the source of the distraction, just pause for a second and ask yourself this question: is the problem really out there, or is it in here? Because knowing where to look is the real first step in getting your focus back on track.